Hi everyone, it's Nicole, Elissa, and I am so excited to have everyone here for this live webinar on how to connect with your empowered feminine essence. So I honestly and truly for today, I want to be able to provide for you a training that's going to give you all the tools that are necessary for you to connect with your feminine essence, for you to connect with your heart, open up to love again, feel safe doing so, and being able to attract and call in your ideal man. So I'm excited to have everybody that's joined today, and I just really want to provide for you and give to you from my heart so that you really get to manifest the ideal love life that you deserve and really feel safe and attracting the level of man that you desire. So here's my promise for you in this training. I really want to make this different for you. I want you to fully open up to the material that I'm giving you so that you can have the level of love that you desire. And the reason why I'm doing this and I'm asking you for you to open up and be present with me is because, I know that a lot of you have had several situations in your life, or maybe you've read the books, you've done coaching programs, you've read a lot of articles, and it sort of feels like you haven't really been able to manifest it yet, right? And you're looking for that external sign that's going to show you that it is possible for you to have the level of love that you desire. And I get it, I've been there. And here's what I know to be true. In order for us to manifest love, for you to have the man that you want, we got to let go a little bit of the past and just be really fully present. Because, I read this article recently, and it's so true, as humans, we are kind of dominated by our minds a lot, and we allow our minds to rule us. And what happens is that we have over like 60,000 thoughts per day, right? And out of those 60,000 thoughts, 42,000 of them are repetitive and negative. So if you haven't had an experience in love that you like, the love that you actually want, you don't have your man yet, or you feel depleted in your energy and you feel exhausted, you keep manifesting unavailable man, your brain will try to go back to that pattern, So the only way that we can actually tap into the thoughts that are actually going to get you there, which is the genesis of like energy, and really bring that into your life, I need you to be in that space where you're open. I need you to be in those thoughts that are actually positive and that really see it for yourself. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is to be really present with me here. That's the biggest thing that I'm going to ask you, and just really connect with your love desire. So if you are trying to multitask, or if you are like watching TV and also here, and or not really 100% present, is so important for us to ground ourselves and have that level of commitment for the love that we want. So what I want everybody to do here in this moment is to just close your eyes for a second and just breathe in very deeply. Just inhale and exhale through your mouth really powerfully. Inhale once again and exhale. Inhale and exhale. With our eyes closed, I want us to really look at all the random thoughts that we have from our day. I know that you've probably been very busy today, so I want you to clear those thoughts. Like, imagine yourself just like putting them for the side. You can deal with them tomorrow. It's really time for us to step into our feminine energy today, to really step into that ease and flow and be magnetic to attract the level of love that you are looking for. So just let them go for a second. And let's also practice the power of intention. I want you to practice this technique to really create the intention of what you desire. So just tap into your love desire right now and make the decision, that you're going to get X from this. Like, you're going to get the right step that's going to help you move forward. Once you're ready, I want you to inhale once again and exhale. And fully make the decision to be really present with me today here. So for those of you who don't know me, who are new to my community, I am Nicole Elissa Williams. I am a love and confidence coach for women who are really committed to manifesting the level of love that they desire and creating a really beautiful life. I am a firm believer of creating with ease and flow. So if you've felt a lot lately that you've been like in struggle, or you've kept manifesting like unavailable men, and the whole dating scene seems like overwhelming for you because you don't even know where to start, or you're even having those doubts because it's been X amount of years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, 10 years or more, where you haven't really dated or seen a man, I'm here to support you, because it's just exactly what I do. To share a little bit about me, I've been on an amazing journey to really create the level of love that I've served. And the biggest thing that I've found out to be true is that the journey really starts with you. It's 100% about you, and then it's going to be another 100% about your man, right? So I really want to guide this presentation today about you, the woman, really learning to love yourself fully, accept and receive more love in your life, so that you can stop manifesting unavailable men, and you can stop feeling defeated, by the whole like love or dating scene. So what we will cover for today is that we will really work around how to feel 100% safe to call in your love life, to call in the man that you want. And we're going to work around how to feel 100% safe, and how to feel safe in feeling our emotions, and just allowing ourselves to be and experience and enjoy life without really depleting our energy. Because I know that a lot of the women in this community, you're really powerful women. You are out there creating amazing lives for yourself. Either you're raising your kids fully, you're raising up a family, you are in corporate, or you're creating your own business, right? And that takes you a lot of energy and a lot of focus. And it's like, how do I bring in my man? I feel like, I'm constantly doing. And that's what I want to change for you today, how to create that space for the level of love that you desire. So before we get into the juicy stuff, I just really want to share with you that your love vision is possible, and it doesn't matter how long it's been. You get to really experience for yourself this amazing experience of love if you're 100% committed to it. So throughout this training, I'm going to give you my 7 steps to manifest your ideal love life, and how to feel connected with your feminine essence, and how to feel empowered by it. Because I know that when I read I wrote the email, I said, I used, like, if I were to be considered one of the goddesses, I would have been Athena, right? Because I was so connected to my mind, like I was so connected from my head and above, and not connected to my body, that I didn't really know how to experience pleasure, how to experience fun, how to bring in an amazing love experience, because all I had in my mind was responsibilities. So do you relate to that? Just really asking yourself that, and making that decision that you're going to experience play, you're going to experience fun, you're going to experience true joy. A true life of beauty starts with the fact that we have to connect with our bodies. So let's start, ladies. So here's the first step that you really need to know to bring in your ideal man, that available high quality man that you want, because it's available for you. We've got to really start the process of healing, and surrendering everything, or journey, to like a higher power, to the divine, to the universe, and understanding, fully knowing that the universe has your back, that you're fully supported in manifesting the level of love life that you desire. And this is sometimes that, I share with this sometimes with a few women, and they're like, but, how is that possible? Like, I keep manifesting unavailable men. I keep manifesting men who cheat on me, men who flake on me, who disappear, right? Like, how am I to believe if I don't have what I want, and then I see other people, that are not really doing this work or anything like that, and they just have love? Right? I want that, but I just don't know. It sort of feels like I'm doomed in this area. And, I acknowledge that. I understand, where that fear comes from. And it takes a certain level of mindset, like I said, of not going back to the old story and just saying, this has to be for me. So there are 2 ways in which you can actually focus or look at your healing process. You can either choose it based on fear, right? Where you say to yourself, I don't know why this keeps happening to me. Oh no, I manifested another unavailable man. Oh no, like this guy completely faked me again. I'm not meant for it. You can face it on the realm of fear, or you can face it on the realm of love, where you allow yourself to be supported, and you understand that whatever is coming up for you, is for you to heal it, for you to transcend it, for you to let it go. Because for you to be energetically aligned with your man or with the level of love that you want, you gotta come to a place where you're fully loving and accepting of yourself and knowing that you're worth it, knowing that you are lovable, knowing that you are loved, completely love. And everything here in this planet and this journey is a journey for you to really let go of all the blockages and all the blocks that you've created in love or with love. So we all have this fear-based default that we can tend to go to, and the fun way and the right way to look at the healing process and to see whatever shows up before you is the way in which you say, I'm getting this again, okay, I'm getting another unavailable man, okay, how can I check in within myself and see in what ways am I unavailable to myself? How am I not committing to the love that I want? How am I actually settling? It's all an invitation for you to step up, for you to really step into that love goddess that you really are. I really believe in women and men as love leaders, and we gotta take that role of showing up and just taking whatever comes in for us and saying, hey, I'm gonna see why this is happening and I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it within myself first. And then you're going to start to see how a new level of man, a new level of relationship is going to show up for you. And it's all going to happen based on your level of commitment to heal, to feel more lovable, to feel more expansive, to go after the level of love that you want. It takes crazy, crazy focus and consistency and being open to say, you know what, I'm just going to use everything that's happening for me as a way for me to heal and to actually have the level of man that I want. You can choose to shrink when these sort of situations happen for you, or you can choose to rise because it's all happening for you. The mindset that's going to take you to the point where you actually meet your man, the man that's available, the man that's ready to, have that level of devotion that you desire and that you crave and that you want, it's gonna appear for you once you make the decision to see everything as a form of support towards your love desire. This is what I have done in my life with everything. It doesn't matter how bleak things may have looked in the past. I choose to be a love leader, and that is the invitation that I want you to do today. So you might be asking, what are some things that I can do to really start to heal? I have some fun processes that I would love to share with you today. So what I want you to do is that I want you to take some pen and paper, and pay attention to those little ahas that you have and write down like these next steps I'm going to give you. So I mentioned a key word about when it comes to healing, and that is the use of the word surrender. So I call it a surrender practice. I have a surrender practice that I use absolutely every single night because I used to look at everything that shows up in my life as an opportunity, if I get triggered, to forgive and to surrender. So I look at everything that shows up before my day, and then I ask myself before I go to sleep, what do I need to forgive and surrender? Because here's the thing. Here's the funny detail that you're going to be like a little bit surprised by this. You can't heal yourself at the level of mind 100%. You're going to have to be the witness of your thoughts. Be the witness, which means that you don't get identified by it. So you look at the thought, maybe you see, I had another man that just came up for me and he was like only looking for sex, right? And I get so annoyed by that, and you'd be like, oh, this is happening again. Not go into that rant where it's like, why does this keep happening to me? Like, this is never gonna work or everything. What I actually suggest for you is to have a surrender practice every single day where you just keep on surrendering, and make it a decision that you've had enough and that you're ready to claim something better. So you forgive yourself for the situation, you forgive the man before you on an energetic level, and you surrender the situation specifically. If this doesn't really, if this resonates with you and you're looking for another way, or you actually feel the desire to vent, Because, it's not like I'm not going to tell you don't feel your emotions. Definitely feel your emotions. But you also got to know when you're actually using them as a clutch or using them as something that's going to keep you in that cycle. So what I actually recommend is that if you feel something very heavily in the moment, right? It's the first time that you've seen it. You've discovered a new trigger. You've discovered a new situation about your love journey. What I want you to actually do is, okay, vent, have somebody that's going to be able to hold a space for you. And this is essential. This is not a person that's going to be one to tell you, oh yeah, men suck, or oh yeah, like, be realistic, it's not going to happen. We don't want none of that energy. We don't have to be realistic. We really call in the level of love that we desire. So you have a space, or you have somebody where you can trust, and you ask them for them to hold the space for you. That's all they're going to do. You're just going to vent, right? It's not that they're going to add anything to it that's going to add more poison or, more like a dig to the wound. You just have that space for yourself where you're able to let out the energy from your body, right? You do that once, you do that twice. You don't go into it 5, 6, 7 times, because then what you're actually doing is just staying in there in that cycle. Once you vent, choose something different for yourself. Choose a higher way of being or higher ways of experiencing love. So you choose whatever's happening for you as a way for you to rise up and to hold a bigger vision for yourself, and from that use it as fuel to really call in the level of love or the man that you want. So does that resonate with you? Like, do you see how this is meaningful? Like, if our thoughts and our emotions rule over body all the time, and we go into that, I had a thought, I had an emotion, I had a thought, I had an emotion, I had a thought, I had an emotion, you go into a cycle where you keep being your old self, the version of yourself that doesn't have the level of love that you want. So you gotta step it up. Use that energy to fuel you, and once you've already done that, you stay grounded in your new truth. And the way in which you do this is that you do it through forgiveness. You do not go into this judging energy of yourself and of others, because judging anything that's fear-based is going to keep you stuck. It's going to keep you in a cycle. This is the biggest truth. So you got to elevate your energy. You got to work on forgiveness. Even if it's a little bit difficult for you, you're just going to be at least willing. Forgiveness is an energy that raises your vibration, that raises your experience of love. So be willing to forgive. Have a surrendered practice. Have the space where you can actually vent and choose a bigger perspective for yourself. So that leads me to my second point, which is to be able to really start to cultivate, more loving experience within yourself, and to create the level of relationship that you want with your man. What you actually have to do is start to really learn how to nurture your new desires, how to nurture and stay super grounded and super focused. There has to be something within you that's going to help you rise up, and it's going to make you commit 100% to having this. So here's something that you need to know about me. I'm like crazy committed to my love life, to myself, to myself, to the level of love that I know that I deserve. And I just didn't know at first, that journey had to, it kind of looked like being obsessed, like with having a man, really. And just loving myself through that and learning to accept myself where I was at. But more than anything, I had a bigger commitment. And that bigger commitment was that I would have the level of love that I knew that I deserved that I didn't get when I was a kid. I remember making that promise to myself when I was a kid. I was like, I will have a happy family. I will have love, romance, tenderness inside of my relationship. I will have that for myself, and that is what I want to dedicate the rest of my life to. Those were not empty words. So what I want you to do right now, and I'm going to create this space for you, is to really connect to what is your why. There has to be something. It's kind of like a positive trigger that every time that you see it, you're like, screw it, I am not going to settle for this. I'm not going to go into doubt. I am not going to be in the space where it's like, maybe it's going to happen, maybe it's not going to happen. If he shows up at my door, then that's okay. Then that means that it's meant for me, and it's not meant for me, it's okay. let me tell you the truth. This universe works through your desires. If you have a desire for love, you better stand up for it. You better have the guts, the energy, the roots to really let it grow. So what is your why? I'm going to give you a few tips and ideas, and I'm going to really create that space for you. I want you to connect to something so meaningful for you that you can always hold on to, that whenever you have doubt, you can use it to fuel you, and that's going to help you move mountains. That's going to help you transcend and commit to a higher experience in love. So what I have, and I share with my clients, is that I actually have a picture of me when I was a little girl, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, like super tender, super sweet, you know, and I look at her, and I'm like, I get this fierce energy of wanting to protect her, of wanting to take care of her, of wanting to give her the world, of knowing that she deserves the world because she is love. She's so innocent, you know? And connecting back to that, that's one of my biggest emotional, like, you know, practices that I have, that I do every single day, because I do not mess around when I look at that. I do not allow myself to settle back into you know, doubt or disbelief. So that's one thing that you can do. You can have a picture of yourself when you were a little girl, and you look at her and you know what she deserves, right? And you will never, ever, ever create a world for her that she doesn't deserve. So that's one practice that you can do. The other thing that you can actually do is to start visualizing a lot about the level of love that you deserve to have, up to the point where you start to feel chills. You need to feel chills. That means that that idea for you is believable, and that you are accepting it on an energetic level, and you are creating it, and you're bringing it into your life. We as women, we are very magnetic in nature. You know, sometimes I feel like we get so overwhelmed with the love, like the process of manifesting, you know, love, manifesting a better life, more beauty, more, you know, everything. And it's like, oh my God, what steps do I need to do? And we go into our minds, but we're not into our bodies. So connect and come back to your body. That's going to be a beautiful sign for you to know that you're connecting back to your feminine essence and you're creating it. Things will start to shift energetically. You will start to be a better match to your man when you're so committed to the love vision that you have. So right now, I really want to create that space for you. I want us to really close our eyes for a second, and let's just, if you're sitting right now, I want you to lean back a little bit and just relax your body. Let's come back a little bit to our bodies and really connect. Let's connect to a moment in time where you said to yourself that you deserve great love. Connect to all of the reasons why you deserve great love, why you deserve to have a life of ease and to flow, and to actually get time to play and to relax and to be joyful. I want you to connect with all of your whys. So let's just close our eyes for a second and just inhale through our nose and exhale once again. Our breath is really important, so let's just inhale once again and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale once again and exhale. I know that right now you have a love desire. You desire to have a man that's devoted to you. You desire to feel like a goddess, to feel 100% confident in your own skin and creating a really juicy life for yourself. Beautiful, beautiful life. I want you to tap into what that life looks like. I want you to look at yourself, imagine yourself that you are in a beach. You can look at your feet on the sand, and from that space, you can just enjoy the breeze, the sand, the sun, and then look right next to you, and you're going to see that there's an island right next to you. I want you to look at that island. And that's going to be your love island. I want you to look at it, and I want you to really connect to what you see there. What is the love, the relationship, the level of attraction, intimacy, connection that you see between yourself and your man. Feel into that. What comes up for you? What would give you goosebumps? What would resonate the best for you? Are you in a specific city? Are you in a specific apartment? What are you doing? How are you sharing together? How is this meaningful for you and why? How are you treating yourself? How do you feel inside of that relationship? How confident do you feel? Really feel into that vibration. Really feel into the woman that you're seeing. Really feel into that and make a decision that you're going to do whatever it takes to get there, to have that for yourself and not sabotage. Because if you can see it, you can achieve it. That seed is already within you. If you can visualize it, it is meant for you. Connect with your power and really look at that scene. And once you're ready, I want you to come back to the island where you're currently at and make a promise to yourself. Make a promise to your little girl. Make a promise to yourself of what level of love you desire to have, and your promise that you're going to be so committed to getting that for her. It doesn't matter what. You already know what she wants, what you want, and you're going to give it to her. So once you've made that promise to you, just feel into that and really inhale once again and exhale. And open your eyes. What I want you to do right now is that I want you to write that promise in the book. I want you to write down what you saw there. What was special for you? What could you see like in that scene that was so colorful for you, so vibrant, that you can really bring that in? And from there on, I want you to nurture this vision. Nurture it, because it will happen. You gotta have that level of trust within the process and that level of commitment to be able to look at this vision and to visualize it over and over again every single day with absolute faith. Make sure that you're getting the chills or that you're getting the goosebumps. That means that you're really believing in it, and that's gonna help you bring it in. So a feminine quality that I find to be very empowering is the capacity that we have about nurturing people, nurturing ourselves, and nurturing our desires. And that is something that we have to do. We have to go in. We can't shut down. It's very scary to want to look at your love life when it sort of feels like, I don't know how it's going to happen. Well, stay with me here. Stay with me in this process and really trust that if you do these things, if you connect with your empowered feminine essence, you will get it. So that really brings me into my next step, which is, the capacity to really learn how to feel your desires into existence. I know that as a really empowered woman, you have a lot of things going on for you, and it feels overwhelming to even think about, how do I even start this, or I don't even know how to feel. I'm just more, I've had a lot of conversations with women in this community and even with my clients. We come in from a very masculine background, like I said, only connected to the mind, not to our bodies, to not really know how to feel. And that is sad, because while there's a lot of benefits of being in your masculine, of knowing how to execute things, there will always be a level of emptiness that you're going to feel if you don't know how to connect with your body. It's always going to be the next goal. It's always going to be the next achievement while feeling empty, while feeling depleted, while looking at the outside world, while looking at our jobs, while looking at something just to fill us, really. But in the inside, it's like we're dying. We don't really know what it is. We feel sad. Sometimes we feel depressed, and some of the emotions that we don't really want to look at is maybe that we feel lonely, that we feel alone, or that we maybe feel like we're not good enough, or maybe there's something wrong with me, or maybe it's just something wrong with the world, or love really won't happen. You know, the world is too screwed up. These are all the emotions that we have to really tap into, really feel and sense what's in our bodies, because if it continues to be in our bodies and we are not aware and witness of it, it's going to continue to unconsciously rule us, and that's what we're going to always manifest. I know that as women, we are incredibly powerful by tapping into our body, tapping into our emotions. On an energetic level and on a subconscious level, your emotions will always have more power than your thoughts. So you can say, you know, I'm so positive, and I know that I will get it, but if you're not seeing it, it's because emotionally you haven't accepted it yet. I want you to really hear me here. You gotta emotionally accept your desire. You gotta come back to your body. That's what makes you a woman. That's what makes us happy. And I'm gonna be very blunt, and I'm gonna share my opinion here. And what I know is that we all wanna connect more to our bodies, both men and women. So you will never really tap into great love by just being here. It just doesn't happen. Why? Because at the level of body, that's where you have your emotions. You have love, you have happiness, you have tenderness, you have joy. You know, as women, we are very warm, we are very caring, we are very, we relate. We know how to relate and take care of others and nurture ourselves. And that is what the world needs. You know, we don't really need more people that are running around just with their minds, feeling empty, feel depressed, using pills to, like, you know, drown themselves with their emotions and don't know how to process it, or use alcohol, or just buy a fancy dress, or just buy makeup. It's an empty, endless search of fear. The masculine and the feminine are meant to serve love. And as much as you want to connect back to your body, you got to see why that's important for you. If you've been struggling at work, if you've been struggling with men, if you feel like you're juggling things on your own, if you feel exhausted, if you feel depressed, if you feel like your body is tired, you've got to connect back to your feminine essence. You've got to connect back to your body. You've got to learn to nurture yourself, nurture your feelings, and really learn how to feel it. So how to do that? I'm going to give you some steps, because the first thing that shows up is like, you know, I'm scared of my emotions. It sort of feels like I get it irrational, or, you know, I feel like I lack direction when I'm in feelings. I just don't know how to process them. So there's a difference between an empowered masculine and a shadow masculine. Like, there is a difference between a shadow feminine and an empowered feminine. You know, we've got to tap into the empowered version of ourselves, of our feminine essence, because that is the love-based feminine. You know, we've got to tap into the vibration of love and not choose fear for ourselves, and really just go with it. You know, it is my big commitment every day to embody love. To embody love for myself and to embody love for others. That's why you will never see me criticizing like other people, other circumstances. If you've, you know, I went through years of manifesting unavailable men, and the more I made them wrong, the more that kept going on, because I just had to learn love and acceptance for where I was at, for where they were at, and just blessing them, because if they were in that state, it meant that they were living in fear. Whoever lives in fear can really process love 100% and doesn't know how to receive it or to give it. So how do you feel your emotions? How do you start to connect with your emotions little by little and really start to connect with the vibration of love, juiciness, flow, and joy? You know, you've got to really create a practice where you're with yourself, where you can grow silent, where you can have, like, how I call it, like a radical feminine self-care practice. That is your loving, you know, practice that you have with yourself, where you learn to nurture yourself and ask yourself, how do you feel in this moment? How do you feel? Always asking yourself, how do you feel? How does this make me feel? If you're about to get triggered over a situation, wait a second, come back to your body. Really explore your feelings and ask yourself, am I coming this from a place of fear? Is this bringing up feelings of being unwanted or not being likable or not being good enough? And how am I going to respond? Am I going to respond believing that, or am I gonna choose love? These are the questions that you gotta ask yourself. How are you feeling? How am I about to react? Am I coming from a place of fear? Am I accepting this fear-based belief, Or am I choosing to create a more loving belief for myself? So you create yourself a space where it's okay for you to feel your emotions. So you do that early in the morning, or you do that late at night, where it is that you can learn to decompose, like just you be in your body. You got to do that for yourself, because if we have been running around all day in our masculine energy, and we're just like running in that energy, and it's a lot of stress on our bodies, your nervous system takes around like 30 minutes for you to come back into more feminine essence and just start to feel and flow and laugh and have fun and joy and be. We are not here to do. We are here to be love. So you got to create a space for you that is sacred, that is valuable, where you get to feel your emotions, where you get to slow down. And what I highly recommend is that you have that space within, like, whether it is your bedroom, you don't have any TVs on, you remove the TVs, you don't have any sort of like electrical equipment, you have your candles, you have your music. It's so important to have that space for yourself where you can actually start to tap into your body. I'm going to give you another tip on how to feel and how to recognize whether you're being in a state of fear or in a state of love for yourself. And that is to check in with your body. When you get a feedback from somebody, or you see something that triggers you, right? And you sense that your body's contracting, that is a big indicator that you're about to choose fear for yourself. Or if you sense that your body is expanding, it means that your cells are vibrating at a higher frequency, which are either the frequencies of love, joy, happiness, knowledge, truth, etc. So if you're expanded, it means that you're about to choose love. Cultivate that feeling of expansiveness throughout your day. This invitation to always nurture, to always really learn how to feel your emotions is a good indicator, and it's a good start for you to learn how to start to feel safe when you're in front of a man, where you're in the dating scene, where you feel safe about the level of treatment that you're giving to yourself, right? Because you're always in connection with your body. Your body is very intelligent. I just want you to imagine and sense a being that is inside of you that is observing every single thing that you do. If it feels like you're sabotaging, or if it goes to your default of fear, it's never really going to trust you fully. Do you see that? Because it's gonna say, hey, like she's not 100% there to take care of me, So you gotta show it to that being within you, whether it's your little girl that is observing and everything, that you have what it takes, that you know how to listen to her, and that you're gonna give to her the level of love that she deserves. Notice how I always go back to the level of love that you deserve. You gotta be able to give that to yourself first and commit to that fully in giving that to yourself, love, creating the love and acceptance that you want to see from a man, and creating it with yourself. So I hope this is resonating with you. The next step that I want you to step into, if I'm correct, this is like the fourth step, is to learn to love yourself fully. Because here's the thing about being mesmerizing and about captivating men, or about calling in the right man and just feeling ridiculously good in your own skin. You gotta have a radical sacred practice where you learn to love yourself fully, and it's like, yeah, it's up to me. This is totally 100% up to me. The big piece that I had around my love life was like, if I do this, if I only get really 100% like juicy, whatever I'm about to go on a date with a man, what message am I sending to my little girl? What message am I sending to that being? That I'm not worth it, or that I'm only worth it when he's around. That's a message that creates a level of distrust within ourselves. And that's why sometimes we feel like we don't trust ourselves, because it's like we know we have to do something, right? And we don't really do it. And it's like, okay, but that happened, and I'm gonna keep doing this, but I'm gonna do it next time. No, you gotta be so committed. It's a sacred practice to always honor yourself and to ensure that you always feel juicy. that you always feel like the goddess that you are, that you are always connected back to love, to yourself, to your worth. So you create a practice, like I said, like I mentioned in the morning, continuing the one about your emotions, where you really get to take care of yourself and that you allow yourself the capacity to slow down, the capacity to be within yourself, to always take care of yourself and to give yourself the proper care that you deserve. So that, if a man leaves or if he stays, it's not going to be like this high state of emergency that normally happens. It's like this fear of abandonment. No, there is no abandonment because you have yourself. So you got to cut that fear of abandonment by taking amazing care of yourself, and that you know within your heart that the reason why you're calling in this man is because you want to share love and not just get something. So that level of self-care, I know that sometimes we feel like if we really take care of ourselves, like is he gonna be there, or is he gonna grow tired, like or we have to believe that I normally take care of people. I know that there's a lot of that happens inside of this community where we've given so much, so much, and we just don't know how to receive. So remember, ladies, it's always an invitation to always know how to learn, like to love, to give, and to receive. And you gotta learn to give to yourself the level of love that you're looking for it. That makes you an energetic match to the level of man that you want to have in your life. Because the man that's gonna come into your door, that amazing man, is a man that has a commitment with himself, with his life, and with you, in that order. So just acknowledge it. It's not a commitment with you and then with himself and with his life. It all really starts within us. So you got to have that for yourself too. You got to have a commitment to creating a life where you're fully loved by yourself. And that requires consistency, that you have a lifestyle that you're so amazingly in love with, where you have flow, juiciness, or you are willing to be in that space where you create that for yourself. And you have that space where you can give so much love to your man, So what does it look like to learn to fully love yourself, and what are those practices? Because I know that we sometimes hear this from experts and say, like, you gotta love yourself, and we don't really share the exact tips. So I can give you a few things, and I can give you an example of how it is that I personally did it. I started to notice, I became the witness of my thoughts. I noticed that if I was with a friend of mine, if I was serving her food, I would make sure that her food was completely hot, right, for her to be able to eat it. And then when I heated my plate, I wouldn't care if it was like hot or not. I'll be like, okay, if it's like lukewarm, And then I started to ask myself, is this the level of love that I want to give to myself? Is this the level of love that I want? And it's funny, as soon as you start to do things like that, it's like it radically starts to shift. I remember the moment I made the decision, I'm going to love myself up. I'm going to make this my biggest commitment. And I started myself, splurging in, or it's not the word, well, just actually giving myself what I wanted. I wanted a world of beauty. And that's what I have, right? That's what I have right now. So so that I could create that level of beauty and love in my life, I had to start buying myself flowers. Not just expect to receive flowers from a man, which I never had received before, FYI. And as soon as I bought myself some flowers, the next week when I went on a date, the man that I was with a date with brought me flowers. It was so interesting. It's always so fascinating how that happens, because a man responds to your energy, to the way that you treat yourself. I remember that, I have girlfriends, who are love coaches just like I am. And we always have this conversation where it's like, her man would say to her, like, I have to make sure that my car is 100% ready for you to step into the car. It was like dirty and I could not have it like that. And, when I would notice her, because I learned this from her, my friend Christina, it was interesting. Like, if we were to go to the gym together, she would actually fold her clothes neatly and put it in a nice space for herself. And I just saw myself throwing whatever it is that I need in the moment, like in the space for us to hold our stuff. And I noticed that I was like, I'm being careless with myself. And that's exactly what I was receiving in the dating space. Men being careless with the time, men being careless with, my time, the day, not putting much effort. I was not putting effort into myself. So I really learned that from her, and that was amazing just to witness that, because the more I start to love myself up, give myself what I wanted to receive from others, I start to see it more in a dating space. And then I realized the funny thing, it was nice to receive it from them. I just wasn't attached to receiving it from them. I was already giving it to myself, so I was already feeling safe. And that is how you build that safety. When you see that you're giving yourself all that you want, you deserve that, and you gotta give it to yourself. Another story to give you is, like, I remember that I had this thing about feet. I did not like feet. I did not like my feet, so it's very interesting. I started to love my body up. I started to, like, whenever I would shower, I would just think about, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, just feel into it. Sometimes I would hug myself, kiss my arms, say I love you. Start to do all these things, start to have more love and appreciation for my skin, for my beauty, for being slow with it and gentle with it. As soon as I start to love more like my feet and everything, I was on a date and this guy out of nowhere decided to kiss my feet. I will say that if somebody had tried to do that before, because I was in such a state of not really liking my feet and lack of self-acceptance, I would probably be like aggressive or curse them off, because I think I did once. Somebody tried to do that once with me and I did not react to it. I reacted from a space of fear. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to cultivate these exact practices. I want you to become the witness of your mind. I want you to look at yourself. How am I treating myself poorly? Or how can I improve my level of treatment with myself? Really asking yourself that. And every single time, little things, make sure that you fix it. This is not a one-time thing. You gotta change the way you treat yourself. And this has to become a new habit. Right? You want a man that has healthy habits with himself, that loves and adores himself, right? That really knows how to take care of himself. So you gotta really do that for yourself. And I'm not saying that you don't love yourself, because I've always loved myself. It's just that I'm always improving. I'm always learning to love myself more, to love my time, to love my energy, to love my body, to not allow it to go into stress or confusion and everything. So as you love yourself so much, ask yourself, how am I allowing myself to be in a state of confusion with men? Is the man that I have in front of me not committed? Is he giving me mixed signals? Am I available for that? Am I available to put my body into that level of stress and always question and always see, how can I be better? How can I do that? No, you are the prize. You are the goddess. Like, you are, the embodiment of love, and you deserve that. So you bless the man that's in front of you, and you start to move forward to what you really want for yourself, okay? So really start to look at that. How am I treating myself? And you gotta know, and I have to be very honest with you, this is not luxury. This is priority. This is how the entire world should be operating, so that we remove ourselves from our connection from fear, and we all really get to experience true love, joy, and intimacy. So sometimes we say, because it's like, I'll do it when I have more time. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to do it first. Because if then you're looking for something on the outside to dictate whether you're lovable enough to be able to do it. And you gotta demand it. You gotta demand it to the universe. You gotta create this space. So you gotta, whoever it is that you can start small, whether it is having a 10-minute practice, self-care practice in the morning, or just slowing down when you shower and not being in a constant state of rush. Look for where you can start and create that consistency. Create it, because men love it. A high quality man loves it when you love yourself and you have high standards for yourself and you have boundaries and you really take amazing care of yourself. The man that's gonna complain, that's a man that's a different vibration. So we send him love and we remove ourselves from the picture. We've got to create that space for ourselves where it really feels safe for us to love ourselves and to love others. So the next step that I want to share with you, step number 5, is that you've got to be consistent with your love desire. It takes radical focus and not stop, because what we're dealing with is that you're dealing with all of the past habits that you've had before in your life, or where you haven't really loved yourself enough, or you've had accepted a behavior that wasn't the best, or maybe you've manifested great men so far, but just not the right one for you. You've got to be consistent with creating a habit of not really settling, of being so ultra committed to your love vision, to you embodying the goddess that you are, and to really owning your worth. When you do these steps for yourself, it's like, stuff will brush past you. It's not going to be like the end of the world. And in that consistency, what I mean is that you got to take action. You got to take empowered action, and you got to have crazy amounts of faith and looking at the world through the eyes that say, I am getting what I want. The whole universe is leading me to have the level of love, the man, the amazing lifestyle that I know that I deserve. And just to share this and being ultra vulnerable and open with you, I've had a very interesting when it comes, based on the decision that I made earlier, like I shared with you, that I would have the picture of myself when I was a little girl, and I said to myself as a little girl, I will have this. I feel like that was like my higher self talking more than anything. And you got to have a special moment for yourself like that, that's going to inspire, that's going to help you break through so that you don't sabotage, right? So what you actually do is that, I personally, I've had an interesting journey to love. And I've had years where I was just like not meeting any single man. Men weren't interested in me. My way of showing affection was never really appreciated by a man. I was always made feel wrong for just showing and love. And what you got to commit to is not closing. Is to not closing and to seeing everything that's showing up for you as a way to really heal and to move forward. I've come to a point in my love life where it's like I've been manifesting amazing men, and I'm so grateful because of that. And I'm actually in a point where I'm like so excited, more excited than before, because I had to go through some scary moments throughout my journey. And I feel like that's something that we run away from. We get really scared of looking at. And it's like, I'm sure you're saying, Nicole, if I open up, there's a lot of stuff there that I don't want to see, a lot of difficult emotions, maybe not feeling good enough. And while we create that consistency, we also need to have like a group that supports you, a support system that holds you together. Because for the first few years of, my love journey, I was trying to do it all on my own. I was like absorbing all of the videos on the internet. I was like reading this, I was doing the other, which helped me become very aware, which launched me into this path of really like, when I started to see the benefits for myself, to really start coaching. And I also realized that even as a coach, and as someone, I really needed help. I needed somebody to help me see my blind spots. And when those shaky emotions of maybe feeling not good enough, or, when I felt depleted in my energy, I had somebody to hold my hand. And that was so important, because we're not here to do this all alone. And trying to figure it out all on your own, it's like, sometimes it can be some sort of form of sabotage, because then we don't know what to do and it's like dark, and then we stop and we lose momentum. And we can't really lose momentum, because that's your brain. Your brain gets crazy effective in finding ways for you to stop, because your brain does not like the unknown. And I have to talk about this because that is the highest truth. Your brain is wired first to keep you safe, and then for it to thrive. Like the first thing that's going to show up, all these creative ways for you to not to continue. For you, if you can't really see it, it's going to tell you, no, stop, this is scary, or maybe I can't do this, or maybe not, or maybe I should just take a break, or maybe I just like drop off dating with men for a while. And what it does is like, it's like, yes, it's going to keep you safe. So you have to be able to transcend, to commit, to get to that finish, to finish that line, and just go there for yourself and have that level of support. Because it's like, I faced some crazy stuff like when it showed up, and it was so interesting that I had that level of support for myself, that I did not give up. And that is why I'm at this stage. I faced a lot. I faced from parents who I never once saw my parents' kids. I did not know what intimacy looked like. I even discovered recently that I had a certain trauma around men. And it's so fascinating. I had the level of support from my coach, from my therapist, from everything. I just did what it took for me to get myself to that finish line, because I am very committed. And I go back to that and I see how this life, this lifestyle, how committing to this is making me become one hell of a woman that really knows to love herself, love others, create more intimacy. And I will not have it any other way. So you gotta find it within yourself, just like I did when I had that aha moment where I just realized everything is happening for me. I would not have the level of relationship that I have with my mom, with men, the level that I have with myself, the way that I guard myself, the way that I, interact with others. That's like years away from what I would normally do back then. So go for that. Find that consistency within yourself. Have the level of support that is going to allow you not to give up. That is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. And lastly, I want to talk about sabotage, right? Sabotage and ways that we ruin it for ourselves in terms of receiving love. The way that we do it is through fear. And it is basically like just focusing on our mind and what our mind says. Like I said, your mind is wired to keep you safe. There's science to prove this, and it's going to keep you repeating, like I said at the beginning of the call, 42,000 thoughts out of 6,000 thoughts, repetitive and negative. You got to learn how to make your mind work for you. So you got to tap into and really start to visualize and to connect with your love vision every single day, and start baby steps every single step of the way of learning to trust yourself, learning to really love yourself, and learning to love your path. Fall in love with your path, because your ego, your brain is going to try to make you question and doubt your path, but you got to fall in love with it. See what type of woman this path is making you become, you got to really feel into that, and you got to have a sense of pride. It doesn't matter what you've gone through now. You've got to rise up now and say, I'm going to do this for myself. I'm not going to give up. I deserve better. So you got to find it within you to look at everything as a reason for you to say, I love this path that I'm in. So it's your decision. It is your choice and perception that is going to define how amazing and fantastic your man is going to show up, and he's going to be with you, and you're going to receive great love. It takes courage. It takes a courageous woman that gets really amazing love. You can ask all my clients, they had to open up and learn to receive that vision for themselves, receive their path, and actually start to have fun with it. Doesn't matter what you've been through. It really doesn't. You've got to create it for yourself, and you're not doomed. That is my message for you today. So how do you do that? How do you stop the self-sabotage? Because that's the question. It's like, how would we do it? So the way in which you do it is that you do not become identified with your thought. How do you do this? So when you wake up in the morning, I want you to create a meditation and practice where I want you to breathe in very deeply. Do this as soon as you wake up, whether it's 20 minutes, just meditate very deeply. I want you to start focusing in different parts of your body and just bringing your presence to your body, feeling into it, just going within. That's so important, because sabotage will not be dealt with at the level of mind. It will create more sabotage. It will keep you in a cycle. Your brain is not that sneaky. So what I want you to do is connect to your body, connect to your, a meditation practice that's going to help you soar, right? And just come back to your body. Once you've already connected with your body, I want you to really just focus and vibrate at the level of love that you want. Visualize yourself. Visualize certain scenes that are going to help you create, that are going to help you get creative, that are going to inspire you to take action, that are, that you see it for yourself. One thing that you're going to notice within that meditation practice is that you're going to, the thought that says you can't and the reason why, it will show up. Pay notice to that thought, right? And surrender it. Throughout the day, you will have the level of clarity that's going to give you the pointers to see, oh, I'm about to dip into this thought, so you don't pay attention to it. You do not respond to your mind when it gives you that thought. No, you don't. You simply stay focused on your love vision. So what I'm doing in this meditation practice is that you're creating the level of self-awareness that's going to give you what you need. You're going to observe the limitation. You're going to observe it now that you have it clear, now that you can see it. Throughout the day, when it shows up, you're not going to be identified by it, and you're going to be able to start moving through life in a different way, because you're going to help and create a new level of self-mastery that's going to make you rise up and just shine your light, because you're no longer identified by your fear. And that, ladies, is very attractive to a man, to the right type of man, the man who's a love leader. He's going to want a woman that's a love leader as well, a woman who really believes in herself and is not identified by her limitations. So I hope that this resonates with you and you can see how truthful it is. You gotta be in the vibration of love. You gotta choose to embody love, and you gotta choose to shine your light. That means believing fully in yourself. If you feel that there's something that you sense a certain blockage, or you're asking yourself, like you want to have more clarity around how to do this, I do have a program that I think is ideal for you, and I'm opening it in the month of July. It's called the Mesmerizing Woman Mastery. It's about really learning how to cultivate love for yourself, learning how to be more in your body, create ease, flow, beauty every single day of your life, making that your motto. Like, that's how you live life. And it's going to take radical commitment on your end, and it's just going to be like a process of beautiful embodiment that's going to make you that's going to bring you in alignment with your ideal man and relationship. It's a 12-month program where you get one-on-one coaching, weekly group coaching session calls. You get a community of beautiful women that are in it to win it, just like you are supporting each other. You get healing sessions with me that really help you break through the level of subconscious, so you don't spin or you don't really sabotage yourself, and you really see for yourself that you deserve great, fantastic, amazing love. I'm not going to ask you to buy today. I'm not going to do anything of that. What I want you to do is that if you feel called and if you want to know if this program is aligned for you, click on the bottom below that says book time with Nicole, and I'm going to share with you, I'm going to ask you a few questions. You're going to get to ask me a few questions. I'm going to give you amazing coaching, specific coaching on what you can do, your next steps to manifest your ideal love life. And if you feel like it's aligned for you, yes, I will make you an offer to join us. And if you don't, you're still gonna get amazing coaching. You're gonna have the clarity of where you can move into your love life, what you actually need, and it's gonna be amazing all around. I also know another love experts that if you feel called to, and I feel like they will be able to support you fully, then I would direct you to them as well. Because I just want you to have love. I just want you to have amazing, amazing, amazing love. Every single one of the women that I've worked with, they are in beautiful relationships, and they had to really believe in themselves. And the trick of what makes you mesmerizing and what makes you embody your worth and just shine your light and be attractive and allow yourself to be seen to the right man is your choice to really believe in yourself and to really own your state of happiness. And that's what we will work on. So just focus on that, ladies. You deserve great love. It's my biggest desire for you. And you really got to step into more of your body, more of your emotions, and choose an empowered love vision. And go for it. You deserve to feel empowered, to choose love, and to embody love. I hope that this resonated with you. I hope that this was able to help you. If you have any questions, you can email me at Nicole@NicoleElissa.com, Elissa with a double S, and I'll be glad to help you, just to give you the clarity that you deserve and for you to really have the level of love you're looking for. If you're going to book the time now, I'm going to have specific time available between tomorrow and Sunday for you. So just make time that you just make sure that you go for it. I really want to just have clarity and give you clarity, and I'm really excited just to help you. So let me know, reach out, tell me what was the best thing that you got from this webinar, and I would love to continue supporting you. Have a beautiful, beautiful night, and just take care of yourself and start to practice all the stuff that I gave you tonight. Have a beautiful night. Bye.